the meaning of meditation. Meditation isn't to join a new cult or anything like that. Meditation really means to clear the mind, and that's all. And it's a way of stepping into the true essence of who and what we really are, which is part of the subject that we're going to be looking at, the topic that we're going to be looking at tonight. And we just take a moment to clear away the stories of the day, the thoughts, the ideas that we have, and to center into something a bit more eternal. So meditation is just a way of becoming present. That's really what it means, becoming present, becoming still. So let's just settle back in our chairs or couch or floor or where we're sitting or lying at the moment. Just relax, uncross your arms and legs. You don't have to close your eyes. You can focus on something, like we have a candle in front of us. Focusing on the flickering flame of a candle is very powerful. Or you can gently close your eyes. The most important thing, though, is to withdraw your mind from all other times and all other places and just become supremely focused in the here and now, in the present moment. To become fully aligned with the essence of life that is here in this moment, right now in this moment. And our physical bodies are a powerful portal into this alignment with life, because the physical body carries the energy of life. So let's just check in with the physical body, become aware of the sensations coming in, possibly from the chair or the couch or the floor or the bed, whatever you're sitting or lying on. Feel the sensations coming into your awareness through your body, through your bum, through your legs, through your back. Feel that aliveness, that sensation. Become aware of the breath that you're taking right here in this moment, now. Just this breath. Breath is a bridge between the physical and the non-physical. Just by resting our awareness and attention on the breath, we automatically become far quieter, far stiller. Another portal into alignment with life in the present moment is listening. Not through the mental faculty of memory or understanding or labeling, but just to listen directly in this moment to everything your ears are picking up in this moment, without judging it in any way at all, just to listen. You can hear my voice, but what other sounds can you hear right now? Without labeling them, just be aware. Be the awareness that allows the sounds to flow through and into your consciousness. Just step back for a moment into the true essence of who and what you are. And a little tip that you can use for this is just to imagine that your attention is behind your eyelids, behind your eyes. And now step back further into your head and slightly up. So you're moving back into the back of your head and slightly up. Just see what that feels like in this moment when you do that little exercise. Stepping back and slightly up. Take a very deep breath in now. And surrender all thoughts, all feelings, all emotions. Just let them go. As we breathe in, we breathe into our heart center. We feel our hearts expanding on the in-breath. And as we breathe out, we surrender deeper into that space. So we take another very deep breath in into the heart center, expanding it. And as we breathe out, we surrender deeper into that heart space. Breathing in, expanding the heart, and breathing out, dropping into the deep center of the heart. Finding a place of comfort in the center of our hearts. You might like to see a color, maybe a soft color, maybe a pastel color that you're surrounded with in this space, in the sacred chamber in the center of our heart. Find a place of deep rest. It's almost like a homecoming. Just feel what it feels like to be held in that sacred place in the center of our heart. Take another very deep breath in, expanding the heart even more, and breathing out, sink into that beautiful sacred space of presence within your heart. A place of stillness, a place of infinite depth, quietness, a place of love. There's nowhere to go, nothing to understand, nothing to gain, and nothing to lose. Just this infinite depth of life here in this moment. Take another deep breath in and surrender. In this beautiful space in the center of our hearts, in this present moment, in the quiet emptiness of now, we all meet. True essence to true essence, being into being. And we expand this space in our awareness just with a quiet thank you. Quiet sense of gratitude for this meeting. And this gratitude ripples out from our heart into the world of human experience as an invitation for others to step into this space, this infinite field of connection, of kindness, of compassion, true community. Thank you. Take another deep breath in and release. Bring your awareness back into your whole body, into your toes, into your fingertips. Say another quiet thank you. And when you're ready, you may gently, softly open your eyes. Just see how you feel in this moment. Feel a bit more peaceful, hopefully, a bit more centered, a bit more balanced, a bit more present. Just let us know in the comments section how you're feeling right now. How are you feeling?
If you're watching this on YouTube after Sunday, let us know as well in the comments how that feels. After you've spent a few minutes just in silence and presence, how does it feel? How does it shift your energy? Because that's what we're actually up to here.
Meditation isn't an achievement, by the way. We're not achieving anything.
The opposite.
It's actually the opposite of doing anything. It's just being in the present moment. That's all it is. But it's very, very powerful physically to reset the body back to equilibrium, to reset the mind, back to balance, and to open us up to an intelligence that's way, way superior to the logical thinking mind. So thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
What's happening in the heavens?
Well, it's very in keeping with, our theme is very in keeping with what's happening in the heavens, because we have, not only are we about to enter eclipse season, as we said in our earlier bit of this before our camera stopped working, that we are starting an eclipse on this coming Sunday, and then there's a lunar eclipse now, and the solar eclipse at the end of the month, well, on the 22nd, I think it is. And that cycle has got to do with dissolving of boundaries and fortresses. And we also have we have a major cycle ending right now. And I've spoken about it before, spoken about it on my YouTubes, but I'll speak about it again now because it's nigh. So we have two planets. The one planet is Saturn. Saturn is the planet of structure. Neptune is the planet which dissolves structure. And the two of them are right next to each other right now. So they have actually moved into the sign of Aries. They are now moving backwards. Saturn moves back into Pisces tomorrow, and then followed by Neptune. And basically they move forward again in the new year. So that literally is the dissolving of the fortress, dissolving of the old structure. That's what it is. And building new foundations. How do we want to live from now on? Because then we start a brand new cycle, which we've never started a cycle like this before, as far as we can go back. Because it's a very powerful time. It's February 26th, when they come together at 0 degrees of Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, which is the most important sign of the most important point in the zodiac, because it's the very, very first degree. And so that's a brand new beginning. And so I just see this time right now with them actually going back into Pisces, which is about dissolving the ego, dissolving the attachment to the roles, to the resistance, so that we can actually clear it and we can move forward into a new way of living. So a lot of people talk about sort of ascension and, are we going to disappear off the planet? It's not that. It's just that our dimension of consciousness is actually shifting, the way I see it. And so, this that we're doing now, our retreat at the solar eclipse, that's been chosen to happen then, so that it can actually assist us in doing this clearing and planting new seeds. So the eclipse season happens over the axis of Virgo and Pisces, and the full moon lunar eclipse, which is happening next week in a week's time, is happening in Pisces, which is an opportunity to let go, to release, to dissolve. And then the next time we meet in Holzbach, it's going to basically be the new moon, which is literally planting new seeds in Virgo, which is creating a new growth cycle. So I just think it's a very potent time that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, and I remember Michelle went on a national speaking tour back in 2019, talking about the coming changes, particularly starting in January 2020. And if I remember correctly, it was all about dissolving the big structures. The big structures were crumbling.
Well, it was a little different, because it wasn't dissolving. It was like an implosion of the structures.
Yeah.
Because that also had Saturn, which was structures, but Pluto comes in and basically demolishes it. It doesn't dissolve it. It implodes it.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of a very powerful cycle in our lives. Most of you can look back to 2019, 2020, and see how much your life has changed over the last 6 years. And now we are starting to withdraw our dependence on external structures and come into the real source of creation, which is within our heart chamber. But many people have built up a fortress around the heart, a fortress of protection. Maybe you had a romantic relationship that went sour, or you had a bad relationship with your parents or your siblings, and you built structures solid walls around your heart to protect you from emotional pain. And part of the cycle that Michelle is speaking about now is the dissolving of those old structures which maybe were necessary many years ago, but they're definitely not necessary now. As I wrote in the description of tonight's Satsang, love needs no protection. All that needs protection is that which is part of the illusion, part of the egoic idea of who and what we are. Who you really are, the true essence of who you are, which we went into in the opening meditation, the stillness, the quietness within, doesn't need protection. So those old structures, those old protective measures that we took to protect ourselves are protecting a false identity, an egoic identity, a personality identity. And now is the time to dissolve all of those. Why? Because they don't serve us as we move into the new level of consciousness. They might have protected us at one stage, protected us, but now they become actually a prison for us, preventing us from being the joy, being the fullness, being the abundance, and being open to the true ascension of what this time is giving us.
Yeah, it feels, the fortress feels like a contraction. So it's resistance basically, and resistance is separation. So when we go into resistance, when we go into separation, we're actually saying, I'm resisting this, it shouldn't be happening, I'm separate from it. And that's there and I'm here. So we're literally putting up a fortress around us. And that fortress, as John said, is actually not protecting us. It is separating us more. That's what it's doing. I have so many people saying, I got so hurt before by so-and-so and so-and-so that I've put a barrier up around my heart. My heart is protected now. It's not protected. It's separating you even further.
It's imprisoned.
It's imprisoning you in a cage. And so this is actually about, if fears are coming up for you, which they very well might do, because most of us living on this planet as human beings have a certain amount of resistance and have a certain amount of fear and have created a certain amount of fortress around us. So it's not to be ashamed of that, because this process is simply showing us where our resistance is, where our fortress is. So I sort of perceive it as a contraction, as a tightening, as a shutting down. You literally feel threatened, you feel triggered, and you can literally feel yourself shutting down and doing that. And it's almost like you're going inside a prison and you're battening down the hatches and you're saying, right, I'm here and I'm protected. But it's the very opposite. Because as soon as we do that, we're actually cutting off our flow, our perceptual connection to the all that is, to the oneness. We're actually saying, I'm separate from the oneness. And then we feel alone, and then we feel cut off, and we feel hardened. And that's also a lot of this current energy, is when we're in the flow of life and the doors are wide open, there's energies coming and going. It's moving in and out. When we restrict ourselves and we put ourselves in a prison, nothing can come in. So your intuition is actually blocked as well. Your connection to the all that is can't flow as well. And then we feel more cut off. So that's what this process is. That's the way I see it. And it's those old stories that we tell ourselves over and over again, about our terrible past, or about how terrible that was, or whatever it is. Anything that's keeping us stuck in this protective, restrictive place has to go if we actually want to be liberated. And it doesn't have to go in one foul swoop. For me, it's moment by moment, as you feel that resistance, the opportunity that we have in that very moment is to breathe out and to soften. And it's basically to soften our grip and to allow, to accept rather than resist, because resistance is the opposite of acceptance and it separates us.
Yeah, that's so true, because these fortresses that we put around ourselves, as I said earlier, are basically protecting the false sense of self, the egoic, the personality sense of self. And in that, we are in identifying ourselves as the ego, we are disidentifying ourselves as the true magnificence of what and who we really are. So we are building a little box and putting ourselves in the little box, and then we wonder why our life isn't flowing in the way that it should be flowing or could be flowing, why we don't feel the abundance and the love that we know is rightfully ours, because we have separated ourselves. They say that God never leaves us. We leave God by imprisoning ourselves in this little protective bubble that we have within us. So it's to recognize that that which needs protection is the false sense of self. And that false sense of self now needs to be released. And those walls of separation, of perception of separation, need to be slowly dismantled. You don't have to do it all in one go. You can do it, but you don't have to. So one little step at a time. One little, say how, one of the African sayings, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. It was Desmond Tutu who said that, if I remember correctly. So, the sense of separation, the fortresses that we built around ourselves may be so big and so solid. How do I dismantle it? One little brick at a time. How do we do that? In this moment, let me breathe and let me make what is more real to me than what isn't. So this protective fortress is very much about protecting a past identity. And the more we make this present moment more important than any past moment, we are dismantling those old structures of time. And we're stepping into alignment with that true energy which we call life, the true intelligence called life, which is far more capable of leading us through these changes that we are entering into now than the old mind-based structures of yesterday. So it is a liberation of your true essence of being from the imprisonment of the ego, and it's also a coming back into full alignment with a far greater level of intelligence called life, or whatever you want to call it, divine essence, source. And it's to trust that there is a greater level of intelligence outside of this little fortress that we have constructed, and this greater level of intelligence has our good at heart. It wants the best for us, and to surrender and release and open to this higher intelligence called life.
I think the opening is it's huge.
An opening.
It's an opening and it's a softening. That's the opposite of closing and hardening. And the thing is that many of us have got our false sense of safety from contracting and from controlling a form of fortressing and hardening. So we're under the mistaken illusion that if we control something, if we have our hands very firmly on the steering wheel and we are pushing life forward, that we're safe. And it's not true. So that's actually putting us more into a fortress. It can actually sometimes be control, it can sometimes be anger that's actually supposedly kept us safe. So you might find that you get triggered and you get angry, or you get triggered and you want more control. You want to control the person, you want to control the situation, you want to control anything to make you feel more safe. And the safety isn't in the control. The safety is in the surrender. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
But it's not what we've been taught.
Yeah.
We've not been taught that. We've been taught to push and drive.
The safety is in the abandonment of the egoic identity. That's where the true safety is, because now you're resting in something far more real, far more solid, far more eternally present than the idea of who and what we are. So this transformation process is really an awakening to the true identity of who and what we are. And that identity doesn't need any walls of protection, doesn't need a fortress around it. And these energies, these astrological energies that we're moving through at the moment, It's a prime opportunity to do this dismantling, and that's why we're running the retreat on the 19th to the 23rd in Hogsback, because of the energies at this time. It's a very, very powerful time to step out of the old inhibited you into something that is so much more magnificent that you can't even begin to comprehend. It's like a caterpillar trying to comprehend the life of a butterfly. It can't. It's a totally different paradigm of experiencing life and living life. And life doesn't have to be a struggle. It has to be a struggle for the ego, because that gives the ego its identity. Its form comes from struggle. And yet the new you doesn't have to have that experience of struggle anymore. Life can be a flow, it can be a dance rather than a striving to get somewhere. And isn't a dance far more exhilarating and far more joyful than a race to try and get to some predestined end date?
I mean, the thing is that you don't even notice flow and beauty if you're in that contracted state. It's impossible to notice it. So have you ever noticed that when you're rushing around trying to control, fearful, anxious, you don't notice beauty? Because it's blocked. It's there still, the beauty's still there, everything's still flowing and glowing, but we're not seeing it because we're too in our heads and we're too caught up in this contracted state. So like, for me, Mother Nature is continually saying, come, breathe, be, feel, attune to Mother Nature. You know, that's the other thing we're doing obviously on the retreat, is just to spend time being, not doing and not absorbing. There's something that came to my awareness recently, is something to ask yourself, is how much time you spend inputting or outputting. So in other words, how much time do you spend taking in information and or doing stuff? And how much time do you leave for integration, which is not watching a YouTube video or listening to a podcast. It's being, not doing anything. And so what we do is we go from input to output, input to output, input to output. And that's actually a contracted state very often. So I just feel that we need pauses where you're not doing anything. The contracted state is when we're constantly inputting and outputting.
Yeah.
And we don't give ourselves the time to integrate that. So it's just something to be aware of during your week, during your day. You know, have I been inputting? Yes. Have I been outputting? Yes. Have I been integrating? No. Okay, let me just stop for 5 minutes and just sit back in my chair and relax my shoulders and open my heart and not do anything and not try and figure anything out either. Because that's when the insights actually come flowing in. And that's where we reconnect, because we have dropped the fortress. Yeah. We've dropped that constant doing.
Yeah. And then that central point of integration, that's when we align with life. And the intelligence of life comes through. We call it intuition, we call it insight, we can call it spiritual guidance. We come into that. That's that point between the doing, the input and the output. There's that very, very narrow portal. It's really important in our lives to learn how to open ourselves to this greater intelligence outside of the thinking mind, outside of the physical body's doing this, to open ourselves to be quiet enough to listen to the quiet voice of intuition, which is the true intelligence of life around us. There is a far greater intelligence that we have access to, but we need to quieten what separates us from that. And what separates us is this idea of who I am. And who I am is a structure, an egoic structure set inside some walls. And those walls are the fortress which separate us from Mother Nature, from the true intelligence that wants us now to ascend to a greater expanded version of ourselves. That's the importance of doing this work at this time. I know the mind can't value what is being spoken of here, because for the mind, structure is the only important thing. It's only form that's important to the mind. The formless has no value for the mind. But the true essence of intelligence and the depth of abundance comes from the formless, not from the form. If you think of things that you really value in life, things like joy, compassion, love, beauty, as Michelle spoke about earlier, that doesn't come from the form. It's the recognition of the formless that underlies the form. And that is the new consciousness which is being offered to us to step into that. It's a different way of being. It's the old world was the world of doing, and the new world is the world of the miraculous, where things appear, where our doing is guided by a high level of intelligence, where we achieve things that we couldn't even begin to comprehend, that we could achieve in the old way, the old identity that was imprisoned in the mind and the egoic identity.
Yeah, and I believe that we are being assisted. There's a lot of people talking about light codes and all sorts of things happening which are actually assisting us in doing this. We're not on our own. We do have guidance.
Yeah.
We do have the formless dimension, or formless in our eyes. We can't necessarily see that, but we do have help with this. But we still can make the choice. We can still walk around and be in contraction and be in stress and be in anxiety and create more of that. We have free will to do that. It's completely our free will. And the way I sort of interpret it is that the world is changing in ways that we have no idea how it's going to change with the advent of AI and many other things. And the way that we actually move through it is this way. Because the more resistance that we have, the more anxiety that we carry, that is going to define how we actually move through whatever we're going to be moving through. And if we want to move through it with freedom, we have to connect to something more real. And we've got to be more open and less armored. Otherwise it's going to be a struggle. So this is where we have to practice every day. As we feel the resistance, you can have a dialogue with yourself. Yeah, as you feel the resistance, you can just say, "Oh, I feel scared," and you can dialogue with yourself and say, "Oh, that's okay. Just relax, just breathe. It's going to be okay." You can do that, like a kind parent would do, in the moment. It's not berating yourself for feeling scared, or feeling blue, or feeling whatever. It's just acknowledging it and then opening to it. You actually open more to it. So you allow it to be there. You don't try and chase it away. And that's full acceptance, which is love, which is what all of us want. We don't particularly want to be shut down and pushed away whenever we have a challenge. You know, a beautiful parent, if a child had a moment of unhappiness, a beautiful parent would say, "Come, sweetie, let me comfort you." So we can do that for ourselves. But it's a softening. It's us softening our grip.
It is, yeah. And the last thing I'd like to share this evening is that one mustn't expect the mind to do this dismantling. One mustn't expect the ego to do this dismantling. Both the mind and the ego worship only the world of structure. And so the fortresses give them their very sense of purpose. The ego's purpose is to consolidate the ego. The mind's purpose is to consolidate and grow the mind. And we're talking here about a melting of those old structures. And only you can do it. Your personality can't do it, your mind can't do it, only you can do it. And the paradox is that it isn't so much about doing it all, it's about being. The mind and the ego gets identity from the world of doing, but who and what you really are, your true power, is in your beingness. Michelle was talking earlier about the point of integration, that is a beingness. It is through our beingness that we dismantle those old fortresses that we built around ourselves that now imprison us in this world of materiality and manipulation. So it's as we be, as we open, as we meditate, we automatically dissolve those old structures with no doing in a physical way, no force required whatsoever. It's an allowingness, it's a surrenderedness that dissolves those old fortresses. And it is to know that we are more magnificent than the mind or the personality would ever begin to comprehend.
No, that's beautiful. That just an image came to me of a sort of a knot, and that as you relax, the knot just starts to loosen and unwind on its own. It disentangles itself.
Yeah.
You can't do it with your mind.
No.
You can only do it by surrendering and by allowing and by accepting what is.
Yeah.
So,
Resistance tightens the knot, allowing opens the knot. Allow life to be as it is. That is the secret of this process of transformation, of opening ourselves up to life.
And then when you do the doing, you do it with non-resistance.
Yeah, you do.
So,
You do.
but we're all learning this,
Yeah.
and none of us are there. So
Yeah.
we're all in this together, and we can all just hold a space for each other as we move through this. These are huge times. Huge. Huge. I'd love to hear from you guys before we end tonight on what your sort of feelings are on this whole thing and how you experiencing it. That would be great.
Yeah. And our topic for inner space
is it? Gone out of my
I can't remember what it is either.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. I can't remember what it is either. And you've just done the whole month.
It's discernment.
Discernment. There we go. Discernment.
See, my brain's off.
And that's a very important topic to talk about as we go through this, to discern what is real from what isn't, what is false, what is the false sense of me compared to the real me, what is true in the guidance and what is coming from my fears. That's quite an important month. Discernment.
And
that's
so really only discern properly when you're in presence.
Yeah, and that's our focus then for September Inner Space. And you can join Inner Space for the month. The details are on our website, journeysofAwakening.com. So while we were talking there, you picked an affirmation card. It's blue.
Beautiful one.
Blue, yeah, beautiful. And you're going to share that in the visualization. Thank you for joining us tonight, and just stick around for this affirmation because it's a very powerful tool for the next couple of weeks. So just stay with us. You're going to do the meditation.
Short meditation. Taking us out. I'm just going to pull this forward a bit. My voice gets a bit soft. Okay. All right, let's just settle in. Take a beautiful deep breath in. All the way up to the top of your lungs. Hold for a moment and then breathe out. And the next out breath, breathe all the breath out through your mouth as if you're blowing through a straw. You're breathing out, and as you breathe out through your mouth, blowing through a straw, releasing your shoulders, releasing, and putting your shoulders back, opening your heart a bit. And a third deep breath in. And then a long, slow, relax, release, out. Just allow your whole body to soften in this moment. If you feel any resistance, any pain, any discomfort, gently send your breath into that area and consciously soften it. Consciously open more to whatever is arising, whatever it is. If a feeling arises, open more to it. If a sensation arises, open more to it. And you open by breathing out. Breathing out naturally relaxes the parasympathetic nervous system. When you're feeling stressed, It's to breathe out. Focus on the out breath and softening. Just notice how the body's tendency is often to contract and to pull in and to control. And notice how it feels when you release and open. So on the next in-breath, take your hands into fists. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then on the out-breath, let them go and really, really soften them and open your hands. Feel how, when you do that, your body opens. And it brings you into stillness, brings you into this moment. Brings you into the position of the observer. You might notice thoughts drifting apart, drifting by. Just let them drift by and come back to your breath. Come back to softening. Come back to this moment right now. Connecting with what you can smell. Connecting with what you can hear, the sounds that you can hear. Connecting with your body, sitting or lying down, where it's touching the surface. Connecting with the temperature of the air on your skin. Connecting with the breath as it comes in and out. And again, if any sensation arises, just gently send your breath to that sensation. Gently send your healing attention to that part of your body, part of your being that needs a little bit of attention and love. Now bring your focus into your heart. Breathing in and out, and allow the heart to open as if there was a flower there. With each breath, the flower opens more and more. And soften and open. And allow this moment to be exactly as it needs to be. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just connecting with the peace that underlies the busyness. Allow everything else to just dissolve for these few moments. Now, affirmation for this evening and for this week. In in this beautiful place where we are, I'll say the affirmation. I allow what is to be. This is love. I'll repeat that one. I allow what is to be. This is love. And just feel the truth and power of those words. That as we allow, as we accept, we open. As we open, each time we open, we dissolve more and more of the fortresses that we've built around us. And we allow more light to come through and emanate out from us. I allow what is to be. This is love. And now taking a beautiful deep breath in. And when you're ready, you can gently come back to us. Open your eyes if you need to.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I'll post a copy of that information up on the page. There it is there. There, if you can see. I allow what is to be. This is love. Beautiful. Thank you for being with us tonight. Stay blessed, and we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks' time, unless you're on Inner Space, in which case Tuesday. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you. God bless.
Keep tight.